See if the YouTube stream will set up. Yep, live on YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
Okay. All right, let me get this show on the road. All right, verify with me that you can see the screen.
Yes,
You good? Okay. How's my audio?
sounds good, John.
Good. Okay. Let me make you your co-host, Gene, co-host, Mark, co-host. Okay. Now, if anybody is going to join in the waiting room, then I'll have you guys have the ability to have controls and that sort of thing. Okay, monitor the chat with us. So, all right, let me do this. Let me give this a moment of pause here. All right, what is happening? So, I am super excited about this talk. I have given this talk, I don't know, probably about 350 times. All kinds of audiences, large stages, small stages, webinars, conference calls, you name it. And I've been invited to be a guest speaker and share this talk. This is how to 10x your referrals. Back in 2003, I was like, you know what? I don't want to make a bunch of cold calls. How can I go into every single month with a predictable number of referrals? So I started playing around, read a bunch of books, played around a couple of different systems, and finally cracked the code in October of 2003. And I started going into each week with a predictable amount of appointments and going into each month with a predictable amount of referrals, which pretty much doubled my revenue within 90 days. And so before we get started, I want to share with you a quick story and how it relates to this $5 bill. So one evening, a guy named Bill's in a fancy restaurant and he goes into the urinal and goes into the men's restroom. He sees this guy named Bill standing in front of the urinal, seemingly frustrated because, see, he has managed to drop a $5 bill inside the urinal. So he looks back at Fred and notices that Fred's watching him, and without hesitation, he reaches into his back pocket and pulls out a $50 bill and throws it inside the urinal. Looks back at Fred. Fred's like, what did you do that for? He goes, well, you don't think I'm going to stick my hand in there for $5, do you? And so it's a corny story, but it lands a point, and that is this: when the stakes are big enough, the facts don't matter. When you want something, you're going to do something beyond where you currently are at. And so you've chosen to be on this webinar today, or meeting, or whatever we want to call it. This was like a total spur of the moment situation where, like, I got an hour in my calendar. We're coming into the end of the year. What is the one thing I can share today that is timeless, meaning the principles I'm going to share here today are timeless, and update it with the practices or the tactics which are timely. So, your first golden nugget for today is always remember this: principles are timeless. They work, whether it's a bad economy, a good economy. Um, today, we're talking 2003 when I invented this system. So that's what, 21 years ago. And these principles still work. It's how we do it is different. And so I'm going to update this with the tactics today, the things that are working today that will work for you if you take action and implement it. So there's usually three questions that somebody has when they hear me speak. And that's probably going through your mind if you're watching the webinar today. And that is, who is this dude? Why should I listen to him? And what's in it for me? It's pretty fair questions. So let me see if I can answer it by telling you a quick story. Number one, the reason is I'm married to a crazy family. Okay. So this is my wife, my son Preston, our daughter Haley, and my sister Sandra, and this is our crazy family. So if you have a crazy family, or you ever gone, been involved in a crazy family, then you should listen to me. But more importantly, this is a guy named Gary Ballard. Met Gary when I was 12 years old. Moved from Grand Prairie, Texas to East Oakland, California. My dad was a tow truck driver. This guy owned Dixon Auto Supply on 38th Avenue and East 14th Street. My dad did not want me running the streets. And in his mind, because he started working when he was 9 years old, my son's going to work. So he asked Gary if I can sweep the parking lots of the auto parts store, wash the cars, dust the shelves, whatever. So Gary gave me a part-time summer job. And as Gary and I hung out, I found out that Gary had come from a poor background in Kansas and had really broken the mold in his family. Because for generations and generations and generations, they had poverty in their home. Nobody ever really made much beyond minimum wage, and that had been my story as well. And Gary proceeded to tell me is, hey, you know what? You're 12 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. The choices that your parents have made are their choices. It does not have to be your choices. And so he started talking to me this way. And when I turned 13, and then when I turned 14, and then when I turned 15, and got my permit to drive, he's the first guy that taught me how to drive a stick shift. And then when I got involved in, I started getting involved in the wrong crowd and got involved in drugs and dropped out of high school. And July 21st, 1987, I'm sitting toe to toe with this guy, knee to knee, because I had stolen money from him. He had trusted me with the entire store. And my drug habit was so bad that I decided I lifted money from the till to pay for my drug habit. And he was sitting down confronting me. And he said, "How can I help?" And I said, long story short, I accepted help. He paid for the treatment facility. I came back after 45 days and I said, "How can I ever, 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 ever repay you?" Because see, he took me out of this situation. I was literally homeless, living in a trailer behind this house, which was 2 blocks away from the auto parts store. He had no clue. Okay. As far as he knew, everything was great until his son dropped me off one day and I forgot my jacket in the car. And it just goes to show you, and that's the reason I'm sharing the story with you, just goes to show you when you put yourself in a position to be in a spot and you are participating just in life in general, you never know when that opportunity is that thin line is going to come across you that could change the trajectory of your life. Had I not left the jacket in his car, we wouldn't be talking here today. Tim came back, walked down the driveway on the left side of this house, couldn't find me, and noticed this trailer with all the windows broken out and towels hanging up over it. And I come walking out, and he goes, "You're living here now?" Yeah. And I said, "Yeah." So I ended up moving on with Gary, and Long story short, but when I got out of that treatment facility, he said, "Hey, make something of yourself, keep your nose clean, literally. And when you're in a position to help others, help them." So, literally, essentially, he became my very first mentor. And I never forgot that. And so later on, when I started my first business, had a guy named Jay mentor me, who then introduced me to this guy, a guy named Dave Vanny, who became my very first one of my actually no, he was my second business coach. He was the guy that taught me sales. I hated sales. There's probably a bunch of you out there that hate sales. I hated it. Like it was a passion I hated. I thought salespeople were the scum of the planet. And he taught me how to sell. And as a result of his mentoring, I ended up in the center of the Sacramento Business Journal as the fastest growing company during the economic crash. Now, the only reason I share this with you is I went from homeless, poor, on the streets of East Oakland, drug addict, dropped out of high school, no chance of success, to being featured in the center page of the Sacramento Business Journal with $1 million company, 6 employees, and I grew at 63.9% during 2007, 8, and 9 while the economy was collapsing. Why is that a big deal? It's a big deal not because of me. It's a big deal because of the mentors that I had in life. They believed in me when I did not believe in myself. Can you imagine growing up in a poor home where your parents hate each other, constantly fighting? Um, Alcoholics. They split up twice. All that stuff. I mean, what opportunity are you going to have for success? And we all have excuses. We all have excuses as to why we are where we are in life. And excuses are like armpits. They stink if you don't take care of them. Okay, same thing with attitudes. They stink unless you do something about them. So I got sick and tired at age 26 of blaming my parents and blaming my circumstances for my problems in life and did something about it. And you can do that as well. I was super inspired, almost like my payback to Gary when I met this kid right here, Ariane Coe, February of 2021, 17 years old, from Bosnia, and had this dream of a business. Did a strategy session with him. And I said, I'm not going to coach you for free. Okay. You're going to have to think about it and let me know. But the very first thing you got to do over the next 24 hours, you got to go out and earn $100 without borrowing it from daddy. You go knock on doors. There's all kinds of skills that you have. You can wash cars, dude. You can pick up dog poop. Okay. You can mow the lawn. But you got to show me in the next 24 hours you can create $100 from nothing. And he created $120. And I said, okay, well, I'll take you under my wing and I'll mentor you. I'll coach you in the same manner I charge thousands of dollars a month to coach with me. How much can you afford? He goes, I think I can afford 100 to $120. I go, let's go with $120. I said, the other thing is you got to honor your father, which is the guy in the picture here with him. And you got to do everything in your power to get the best grades possible. So if you notice, he went through JROTC. Okay. He's got the valedictorian stuff on. He was number 2 in the whole school and built a business and had a girlfriend because he had a mentor, me. He built Articus Lifestyles to a 6-figure business before his 18th birthday. On the day he turned 18, he got the license to be able to do this business, but he already had all the contracts sold and fulfilled. Ended up, his high school business teacher came to work for him. Got another car, moved to Miami, got 5 cars, got a couple of limos, opened up in Chicago, opened up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, all before his 19th birthday. And I'm like, okay, this is my way of paying Gary back. But to watch this young kid's success, when you have the right mentoring, you can get to wherever you want to go. Without it, you're playing guesswork. Well, see, here's the deal. There is nothing I'm going to teach you on today that you can't find on YouTube already. You can go to my YouTube channel right now, and I have this talk up there multiple times. But the one thing I know, without somebody being a mentor, somebody holding you accountable, somebody to coach you, somebody to guide you, somebody to motivate you, to keep you on track, you're not going to do it. And the whole I shoulda, coulda, woulda thing is the last thing you want to be telling yourself when you're 65, 75, 85 years old. And, when everything is said and done, you're getting ready to die. Okay. You got to put dynamite to it, TNT. You need to take action today, not tomorrow. TNT. Always remember that. Whenever you're sitting back, not motivated, understand you got today, not tomorrow. When you're thinking about calling that person, you should call them today, not tomorrow. When you're thinking about reaching out to that person, do it today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow may never come. And if you don't believe me, go to google.com and type in how many people on planet Earth. And it's going to come up with a worldometer. Click on the worldometer. I did this yesterday to explain this concept to a client. 8.2 billion people on the planet. But there's a ticker, 100 at the time when I Googled it yesterday, which was in the morning, 170,729 people had died that day. And it was a rolling clock. So today, not tomorrow, is the mantra. Because you don't know. So I had two outcomes for today. Number one is I'm going to give you 3 ways to 10x your referrals. I'm not going to leave anything out. You're going to be able to execute on this right away. If you find that you come here and you listen to this and it's all great, and because I'm going to lay it out to you step by step. This is exactly what you need to go do. But I already know. I've been doing this I've been teaching the same talk for over 10 years. So I already know. Maybe 1% of you are going to take action on what I talked about here today. Because I know this, if you don't take action on what I'm talking about in the next 72 hours, it's gone. Bye-bye. Those are the stats. And if you find that to be you, then I want you to send me an email or send me a text, because we have a 5-day challenge, or actually a 3 or 5-day challenge. I don't know what my team has decided on yet, but it's either going to be a 3 or 5-day challenge in the month of January where you're going to show up to an actual workshop and get your referral systems done. In fact, part of your strategy should be to attend in a couple of weeks the how to create your 1-page strategic business plan, so I can lay it out for you step by step, your business plan for 2025. So, but today we're going to talk about 3 ways to 10x your referrals. Number 2 is I'm going to give you an opportunity at the end of this meeting here today to mentor with me and people on my team. Yes, I'm going to make an offer at the end. And yes, it's going to be a mastermind group. It's going to be pitched at $99 a month for 12 months, or $990 if you pay the whole year up front. Get 2 months for free. Now, some of you, and I'm going to put this on the honor system, may want to jump on this before I even get to that slide. I'm going to allow the first 10 people to do it at $59 a month or $590. Okay, but that's only if you act on this from the time you watch this webinar on the honor system. I'll stick by the deal. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. There's 3 ways to 10x your referrals. Number 1 is the inner game. Number 2 is the outer game. And number 3 is action. And I'm going to get into each one of these, but let's start off with the inner game, your mindset. And one of the mindsets of a champion is that there's always room to grow. So raise your hand if you're on the live call if you agree with that statement. Only a couple of you. Great. Okay. How many of you believe that you have potential inside of you to perform at a higher level than the level you've been performing at? Can I see your hands? Great. One of my favorite people to talk about when it comes to mindset is the great Michael Jordan, the GOAT, greatest of all time. And yes, he is the greatest of all time. LeBron James is not. Okay. In fact, I remember a meme that came out and it's like, LeBron James has all the records in game seven. Like he's the best at game seven of all time. He's the greatest of all time when it comes to game seven stats. And in the meme, there's Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen going, they're laughing and they're going, what's a game seven? Because they never had to go to game seven. Okay. So anyway, six-time NBA champion. And one of the things that I admired the most about him is what he did to improve. Because see, you have to be great in order to play in the NBA. But to be like a Michael Jordan requires systems and a discipline. He already has great ability and natural talent. But that great ability and natural talent did not get him to where he's at because he was literally cut from his high school basketball team. Can you imagine? You're the greatest of all time. You were cut from a high school basketball team. In fact, I got a thing on the wall here. It says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. You see, it's a mindset. He didn't let that get him down. See, if a lot of us can operate like a professional athlete, we would go so much further in life. It's not like it's a secret. They have a very short memory of their failures. Failure is a part of the deal. And if you're holding back because you're like, I don't know, let me put this in your brain. You are robbing this world of your talent. You are robbing this world of your gifts and natural abilities. I know you have gifts and natural abilities because there's 8.2 billion people on the planet, and you're the only one out of those people that has your fingerprints and DNA. You are wonderfully, beautifully created in God's image to be great. And when you don't step into your greatness, you're robbing yourself, your family, and the people around you. Success should be your duty, obligation, and responsibility. And only you can define what success is. And it starts with our mindset. See, one of the things he did at the end of every season, he sat down with a notepad and he watched hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of film of him playing in the season that just ended. Now, here's a very important principle. Notice what I just said. He sat down, he watched hours, he went back in a season, the season that just ended, and he replayed a bunch of that game film so he can look at himself playing. So he can look at it and go, ooh, I didn't like that. Ooh, I like that. Oh, that can change. Oh, that can modify. Oh, that was really good. Oh, dude, did you see that? Oh my God. And I can just imagine being in the room with him and his coaches and his mentor, and they're spending days doing this, and they're making a list. Here's all the things that Michael did great. Here's all the things that Michael needs to improve on. Here's the things that Michael should never do again as long as he lives. And it's the same for you and I. As of this recording, as of this live webinar, we are in November of 2024. 11 and a half months have gone by. And you're coming into the end of the year where everybody goes, oh my God, they're either depressed, they're happy, or they're confused. They might be depressed because they don't understand mentally how to assess their progress. Here they were in January, here they are in November, and they are nowhere near where they thought they were going to be. And this is what we are taught in society. Okay. The key, this is where you wanted to be, this is where you started, but you happen to be here. You didn't get all the way there. you happen to be here. And the secret to happiness, joy, fulfillment, success, stop measuring where you should have been and celebrate where you are. You were here and now you're here. You are different than you were this year. And celebrate the fact that you got here. And then bring where you're at to the present and set new goals. And that's the secret to happiness. The most successful people on this planet will all tell you they never hit their goal in the time frame that they have set it. Very rarely. Because a proper goal set, you should barely hit it or barely miss it. And it comes down to mental mindset. So he, after watching all that film, and he here's all the stuff, and they would whittle it down to one thing they wanted to focus on the entire off season. Not 25 things, not 50 things, not 100 things. One thing. And spent the next off season working on that one thing. 1 year was his left hand. That's all he did all year, all season long, work on that left hand coordination. Then it was his strength training. And it was that discipline that made Michael Jordan the GOAT. But what about you? What is your one thing? We all have it. My client here, Deborah Scarpa, had it. She'd been in business for 22 years at the time. Took her on as a client. Within 2 weeks, I identified that her one thing was she had a resistance to sales. She was using words like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to sound sleazy. If they're interested, they'll call me. And I identified that she had a resistance to sales. So we identified her one thing. And I gave her an exercise, had her do it for 30 days. About 2.5 weeks into the exercise, she started having this breakthrough mentally around sales. So we kept going. She kept doing the exercise. And at the end of our 90 days, she had this resistance to sales. But at the end of her 90 days, she wrote this. We highly recommend John Pyron for his consulting services. Our business revenue grew 4 times while working with John. He really got us started working in the right directions and pointing out things that we were not aware of that we really were really helpful. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate your help. Now, keep in mind, I only worked with her for 3 months. Keep in mind, there was only one thing that I did, and that was to work on her mindset around sales. And after 22 years, 3,000 successful clients, she had a breakthrough. And she grew her revenue 4 times. Now, 4 times. Okay. That's a 4x increase just because she shifted something here. So if you're not getting a result, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And maybe now it's time that you got a different strategy. And so try this on and see how it helps. Next, it's the inner game. Let's talk about the outer game. And the outer game has to do with our systems. And so we're talking about referral systems today. And there's 3 key systems I want to talk about. Number 1 is the WOW client fingerprint. And I'll explain what that is here in a minute. Number 2 is power-based strategy. Number 3 is person of influence, which is POI. All right, so let's hop into the system number 1. WOW. We all have clients. We have clients that we like. We have clients that we don't like. We have clients that we can live with or live without. And then there's clients that we're just like, man, if they could just go somewhere else, that would be awesome. So why don't we do it? Why do we keep clients that don't give us a wow experience? A wow experience would be like, I see them calling on my cell phone. And I have 2 emotions that hit me. One of them is frustration. They're like, you're walking around, you're like, man, I don't know what this person wants. No, I am not taking that call. That is going to voicemail. Or you have them call and you have an experience like this where you're excited that they called. You hope that you could take their call. You want to take their call. You go in and go, hey, man, I'm in the middle of a meeting, but I'll call you right back. And you find yourself finishing the meeting that you're in and you're super excited to call them just because you want to talk to them, not out of obligation. That's what I would call wow client. I remember sitting down with Stephen Oppenson, May 17th, 2015. I built a six-figure sales coaching, or actually business coaching and consulting business in 4.5 months from scratch. And I had 26 clients. My income was only, I don't know, 8,800, 9,200 bucks a month, something like that. And I was frustrated. I had already built $3 million companies. And I had the woe is me, what's wrong with me, the pity party going on. I've done everything that I know how to do, and it's just not, I'm stuck. I go and I meet with Steve. He shares with me exactly what I'm sharing with you right now. How many clients do you have? I go, I got 26. If all 26 of them were programmed in your cell phone, I'm assuming they are, and they called you, how many of them would you be frustrated and want to send a voicemail? I go, 16 of them. So you're telling me, John, that you only have 10 that you actually really like. I go, yeah. He goes, then why are you keeping the other 16? And I go, because I need the money. How many of you listening, watching this can relate? Exactly. So there's 2 steps to getting to wow. First thing is we're going to do a perfect client exercise. Number 2, we're going to do a personal survey. So first piece, we're going to make a list of all those wow clients. You're going to take a look at all those clients that you have, and you're going to list them in order. These are the ones that I have a wow experience with. These are the ones that I kind of have a so-so experience with, and these are the ones that I'd get rid of tomorrow if I could. Okay. Number 2 is I want you to sit there, the wow clients only, and I want you to describe them in perfect detail. Maybe they're male, female. Maybe they make a certain amount of money. Maybe they live in a certain home. It's all relative to the type of business and the type of prospect and client you have. And this becomes even easier with AI tools now. Describe in detail who they are. Next is I want you to describe what makes them a wow client. What makes it? What details it out? Then I want you to go another level, and this is kind of a new something that I'm adding. Is I want you to go and get a pro account with Chat GPT. And your wow clients, I want you to go into Chat GPT and I want you to describe all your wow clients. I would do this on a notepad or a Word doc, and then copy and paste it right into Chat GPT and go, here is all 10 of my clients, and here's client 1, client 2, client 3. Here's their description. Here's what makes them a wow client for me. I describe the experience. Put it into Chat GPT and go, take this data, and I want you to rewrite a perfect client avatar for me. I want you to rewrite a perfect client 10-second and 30-second commercial for me. And Chat GPT will do it. Next is I want you to survey your wow clients. Now, when I did this with the 10 clients that I had, I discovered some things. I discovered that there was a certain type of business owner I had success with. I discovered that I like a business owner that has experience. I like a business owner who's already been there, done it, tried that, and they're frustrated. Those are the common things that I discovered. I also discovered that I like the ones that showed up on time. The ones that, when I was in a conversation with them, they're like sitting at grandpa's lap going, please tell me more. They don't want to leave because they're hungry, they're eager for the info. And I discovered the other thing about my WOW clients is all of them executed. I didn't have to remind them 5 or 6 times to do it. Every time we met, we showed up and they were done and ready for the next step. And so as a result, I got rid of 16 of those clients. And I got 2 more to replace them. And I ran a 12 client model. And my income went from high 8,000s to 16,000 in 43 days. When I did that, I was blown away. I was like, wow. And I was a lot happier and working a lot less and making a whole lot more money. So I know it works. Now, if you really want to take this to the next level, well, let's survey them. A personal phone call, not an email. Don't get lazy here. These are your WOW clients. These are the ones you like. So don't skip on this part. Ask them some survey questions. You're making a phone call to somebody you actually like. So I'd be like, hey, John Pyron. Hey, what's up, John? That's how it's going to be because we like each other. Hey, man, here's a script for you. Hey, I just watched this guy. I was on a Zoom meeting. This guy, the business doctor, gave me this exercise to go and survey my existing clients that I consider what I would call WOW clients that I absolutely like, appreciate, and want more of. He told me to make a list, and you're on that list. And he or she's going to say thank you. And then you say, hey, I got a couple of questions for you because I want to do some marketing that'll allow me to attract more clients like you. You got a quick minute? He's going to say yes. Here's a question. If you were in a position to refer me to a friend or colleague, would you refer me? He'll say yes. Let's just say the next question. Let's say you sit down talking to the person that you would refer me to. What would you say about me? He's going to say this, 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 and this. Great. All right, let me repeat it back. You would say this, this, and this. Yep. Is there anything you would add to it? He's going to give you 1 or 2 more bullet points. You'll end up with 5 or 6 bullet points. And here's what I want you to do. Hey, would you mind if I took these 5 bullet points and put them in a paragraph, in fact, give you maybe 5 separate paragraphs to choose from, and pick the one that you like the best, and can I use that paragraph in my marketing? Do I have your permission? He's going to say yes. Then what you do, you take this after you've done it with your 5 or 10 or 15 clients, you go into Chat GPT, you describe the client in detail. You describe here, I asked them this question, and they gave me this response. And you ask ChatGPT, give me 5 quotes, 5 one-paragraph quotes. Send it to your client. Client goes, yep, I like quote number 2. Great. Next, you want to follow up. Hey, thank you so much, man, for getting that back to me. I really appreciate it. Can I reward you with a Starbucks gift card, Amazon gift card, maybe take you to lunch? Most of the time, they say, don't worry about it. It was my pleasure. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, let's go to lunch. Sometimes they'll say gift card. Either way, I'm going to deliver on it. And while I got them on the call, hey, you mentioned the other day, if you were in a position to refer me to a friend or colleague, would you refer me? And you said yes. Who did you have in mind at the time? Ask this question. Who were you thinking of at the time? And pause, because their brain's going to start working. It's an NLP technique. And then as you watch them, as you sense that they're pausing, you go, the person you're thinking of right now. And it'll come to their mind. They all know somebody that you would like. Now, because you've done this, it's very simple. Who do you know that you think I would like and they would like me? And that's a referral. Okay. So that's that. Power base. Next system. Your personal power base, your professional power base, your network of resources, which is POI. Those are the ingredients. And then we have two separate approaches. Here's a client of mine, Sean Jackson, Frank Sands. They own Jackson and Sands Engineering in Chico, California. Feel free to reach out to them. They're a top civil engineering company. They do beautiful work on ADUs. They do beautiful work on new home design and bridge design and engineering. They haven't had a single turnover. They've been a wonderful, wonderful, wow client for me. But when COVID hit in 2020, they're civil engineers. Keep that in mind. We'd been working together for a year, having a lot of momentum. All of a sudden, COVID hits. These guys are not sales guys. What are we going to do? Sky is falling. You know, I gave them this strategy right here, power base and POI. And I said, here's the deal. You're going to contact those people that you already get referrals from, that you already do business from, that go after the same client. And you're going to make a list of all those people. And so we're going to create a POI relationship. We're going to decide on the strategy to use. We're going to execute that strategy consistently, and we're going to measure the results quarterly. And the step-by-step process is this. We're going to identify 10 potential POIs. A person of influence. All of us have networks that we have influence with. People that we have relationship with, that all we got to do is make a phone call and they listen to us. All of us have that, but not everyone's a POI for you. A POI is somebody that has a high percentage of your target market inside their network. And you want to be able to connect with them and get influence with them. And the first step is to identify 10 people that are going after the same client that you're going after. You can also call your existing customers, your WOW customers, and go, hey, who's your insurance person? Who's this person? Who's that person? You find the vendors that they pay. Chances are those vendors are going after the same client elsewhere as well. Next, you want to use a vetting process. I like to call them up and go, hey, Joe, John Pyron, you and I don't know one another, but Jackson and Sands Engineering is a client of mine, and they're a client of yours. And I got to thinking, if we're going after the same client, maybe we should get together and meet and get to know one another, because I might have some other clients that would be interested in your services and vice versa. Are you open to having a cup of coffee, either in person or virtually? They're going to say yes. I'm going to go and meet with them. I'm going to walk them through a process. And one of the things I'm going to give you today, some follow-up homework, I don't really have time to go into, is there's a 5-step process for implementing POI that you can do it effectively. I'm going to narrow that list down to 4. I'm going to schedule a reoccurring meeting. Same time, same back channel every month. And I'm going to mastermind with them during each meeting. And so if you want the information about this system, if you want the step-by-step breakdown, okay, send your name and email address to this phone number, 916-765-2596. And I'm going to put you into a Dropbox folder that has a ton of resources for you to download and execute on. That's what I did with Ariane when he was looking to start his business. As I said, we're going to go after, you're starting a luxury car service business competing with Uber and all these other people, but yours is unique and it's a private chauffeur type service. Who's got your client? Well, high-end hotels, high-end golf courses, high-end restaurants. You're going to go and you're going to say, hey, I can refer you, your restaurant, to people that ride in my car. You can refer my car service to your clients. Let's do a joint venture together. All these things were set up before he even launched. And so when he launched, he already had a bunch of referrals being given to him and vice versa. It's the power of POI. Same thing with your power base, your personal and professional power base, people that you know, like, and trust, your family, friends, relatives, colleagues, um, your business clients, your past clients, your prospects, et cetera. They're all part of your power base. And there's a unique way to approach them to allow them to give you referrals. And what I told Sean and Frank, I'm like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go out and just ask people how you can help them. And they're going to tell you, and your job is to help them. In return, they're going to ask how they can help you. It's human nature. You tell them, hey, man, we're looking to add more clients this month. If you know anybody looking to design a home, etc. Well, the numbers speak for themselves. They grew over 25% during that year while everybody else was collapsing. Same thing with Ariane here. So what he wrote was, amazing coach, helped me at such a young age. John helped me grow my luxury car and limousine business, expanded into 2 states. The way to purchase a limousine, give you an opportunity to travel at 18, be financially free. It was insane. Like, he went away for a month and a half and his business still ran without him. Why? Because he got a mentor. And so we've talked about the inner game. We've talked about the outer game. Now let's talk about action, because you can have the best mindset, you can have the best systems in place, but if you can't get your butt to take action, none of it's going to matter. You can argue for your limitations, but I'll tell you what, you get to keep them. And so my question is, what level are you playing at? And here's how that works. Over the last 90 days, as you've been showing up in your business, what level have you been playing at? Let's just say a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you're completely lazy, homeless. 10 being that you're the rock star, you're the GOAT. What level have you been playing at? Be honest with yourself. Now, some of you are like me. You're going to play at a level 7 or above all the time, because to play at a level 10 every day is not possible. But to play at a 7 or an 8 or above is definitely, and it's the consistency of doing that is what matters. And maybe you're like me, you play at a level 7 or higher every single day. You just do it because it's who you are in business. Good for you. High five. Let me give you a high five. There you go. Let me ask the question a different way. Over the last 45 days, 90 days, as you've been showing up in the relationships that are most important to you, what level have you been playing at? See, that changes the game right there. Because a lot of you are like, you got me there. But see, who gets to decide what level you play at? You do. And so I want you to make some new choices. I want to encourage you and challenge you to make some new choices today. Because to play at a higher level, you got to do 2 things. Number one, you got to expand your comfort zones. If you're here on this meeting or watching this meeting, you already play at a higher level. You already have comfort zones. You've already gotten outside of your comfort zone. Now I want you to expand those comfort zones. If you're not operating in a place of healthy fear, you're not doing enough. Tony Robbins one time found that he was not playing at the level he should be playing at. So he went out and purposely rented a 12,000 square foot mansion, castle, actually, rented it, had a huge rental payment that he could not afford. So it put a fire under his butt to play at a higher level. And he coined the phrase, put yourself in a position that demands you succeed. So expand your comfort zones. Next is you got to take some new action. And one of the actions that you can take today is you can join our 10X Business Owners Mastermind group. We have a free call on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can join that every week and be there for free. Or if you want custom back and forth mentoring, join our mastermind group. What's included? A live mentorship call each week. It's a private group. Everybody gets to know one another. We limit the membership to only 12 per mastermind group because we want it intimate. We want it to be able to you to know everybody, and everybody will be able to have an opportunity to talk about their business and get their questions answered. Next, we got a private member social media group, LinkedIn for those that are dominant business, Facebook for those that are, their main clientele's in Facebook. Depends on the mastermind group that we have going. I have lots of coaches and consultants on my team, and it's not just me. We have a members only podcast channel with bonus content. We also have an online content library specifically for business owners, stuff that I have compiled and paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for over the years is in this library. Next, you're going to get an invitation to the annual 2-day business owners boot camp that will happen every year. Now, if you're concerned, you're like, I don't know. Well, I'm going to guarantee it. If you show up to every call for the first month, you have your Zoom camera on, you participate, you do the homework, you do everything that you're supposed to do, and you say, hey, man, this isn't worth it. I'm not having a result. I'll give you 100% refund. No questions asked. So that just took away your excuse. Bonus is if you sign up today, I'm going to do a DISC assessment, behaviors assessment with a debrief. I'm going to do a driving forces assessment, your strengths, your weaknesses. It helps you create your personal plan. Again, 30-minute one-on-one coaching session to debrief the results and lay out your personal plan. I'm going to give you access to the one-page strategic plan workshop that's coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm going to give you the marketing to sales funnel workshop that I did. It's super valuable. I'm going to give you the access to the LinkedIn into lead, how to turn LinkedIn into a lead generating machine I did with a LinkedIn expert that has just dominated that space. You're going to ticket to the 2-day sales mastery workshop that happens in June. Total of $2,732 in bonuses. Now, what's this going to cost? What's the investment? Well, I'm going to make it simple. It's $99 a month. I should be charging 20 times that, but this is going to be hundreds of people in lots of different groups. Once a group fills up to 12, it's closed. You have to be voted in at that point. Then we'll start a second group. Then we'll start a third group. Then we'll start a fourth group. I got plenty of coaches that can facilitate them, but this is how you play at that higher level. You want to commit to this for a year. It's $99 per month for 1 year. And if you can't make that commitment, then don't do it. If you're like, I want to do this, I absolutely am committed to do this. I know I'm going to do it for a whole year. You might want to pay $990 and get 2 months free. Either way, you get to keep all the bonuses. Even after 30 days, if you say it wasn't valuable and I give you your money back, you still get to keep the bonuses. So how do you register? It's very simple. Well, you send me an email, jpyron@johnpyron.com. Or you can comment your email in the chat window. But I'm not just going to register you and take your money. I'm going to do a 10 to 15-minute phone call with you to make sure you understand the commitment of joining the mastermind group. That there are going to be people on there that are going to hold you accountable. There are going to be people on there that are going to give you ideas and strategies. There are going to be things that you hear on there that you have to agree to a confidentiality agreement with. You need to understand before you put down the money what you're getting involved in, because these mastermind groups go for a while and they become extremely valuable. These people literally become like family to you, and literally a board of directors for you. And it becomes super, super valuable. So I want to have that conversation with you because it might not be a fit. And that's why I'm not putting a registration link where you can put your credit card in and sign up today. This is going to be exclusive. And so here's my closing thought. Are you worth the investment? See, whether you sign up today or not, you're going to pay either way. Cost today is $99 a month for a 12-month commitment, or $990 if you pay it up front. But there's also a price, a cost, a consequence for not taking action. And that's what this is. Here's what it looks like. You get to continue to use the strategies that you have and taking the actions you've been taking and getting the same results you've been getting. And if you're happy with that, great. But I already know 95% of you are not going to do anything different unless you get involved in something like this. Whether it's this, whether it's working with me one-on-one or one of my coaches one-on-one, or Billy Bob Thornton, okay, or somebody else, find a mentor. Remember what I told you about Gary? Wouldn't be here had it not been him. Wouldn't be in the spot I am had it not been Dave Vanny. Those guys held me accountable, made me do stuff I did not want to do. I hated every bit of it, to be quite honest, and didn't want to do it. Don't let that be you. I want you to win and I want you to succeed. So register and get a part of the groups as they start to form. They're going to be forming them all in the month of December. They're going to all kick off January 1. So there'll be some content. There'll be some activities you'll be able to participate in between now and the end of the year. But I want you to sign up for this and get your spot as soon as possible. Go out and make it happen.